After an entertaining race last week at Talladega, we move a bit further west as we go to Kansas Speedway for round 11 of the Rowdy Energy Cup Series, and who will stake their claim to a place in the playoffs this week after Greg McConey finally put his name in the hat for that situation at the end of the season. Good evening, everybody. Thank you for making us a part of your evening. My name is Sam Cooper Bennett here with you for ESPN, the Esports Broadcasting Network, and joining me once again is Mr. Byron Rodney. And Byron, we're slowing things down, but not by too much as we head to another one of the infamous cookie cutters here tonight.
Yeah, Kansas Motor Speedway. It is a multi-groove race track. I'm looking for these guys to be arcing those turns wide off of the corners, off of 2 and 4, to arc it down in. I've been watching them in practice. This track looks like it is abrasive to tires, looks like it is going to abuse that right rear, and guys are going to be pushing those corners looking for the grip that they're going to have, but they're going to be seeing that outside wall. We're going to see some racing stripes out there tonight if what I've seen in practice is any indication. Yeah,
a lot of drivers using that high line to good effect in some ways and making it work in some way, shape or form. Kind of similar to what we saw last night with the Medieval Racing League when they went to Las Vegas. Very much the same dynamic, but the banking is a bit lower. So not as harsh on the tires, but still harsh nevertheless.
Yeah, but on top of that, this track, it's deceptively, it's not having that banking, it's deceptive as to how much grip they're going to find up there. And then as the track rubbers in, it's going to get even slipperier as we are running afternoon race. And I'm looking at the track temp right now, 114 degrees on the track. And that just means it's going to be hot and slick. These guys are actually going to have to drive these cars. It's not a super speedway thing like Greg Marconi we saw last week with Talladega. It's you're going to have to use that throttle. And guys that can drive it with their right foot, the best, are going to be rising to the top.
One driver making his return tonight is Jovan Cherry. He's just logged into the session, but one driver that is missing tonight is a man that's been on it all season and already staked his claim for a playoff spot, and that's Mr. Cedric Hunter. Gonna be a big omission from tonight's race, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, I don't know how they score it with drop weeks or anything, but Cedric Hunter not being here, that's going to affect the championship run. As we are in round 11, guys are rooting and gouging for all the points they can get for the playoffs.
Still plenty of races left to go, though, before we move on to the playoffs, so plenty of opportunities to get whatever points you can, and I'm guessing, and this is, I believe, the first race that Cedric Hunter has missed this season, so not really too much of a loss for him at the moment. Pretty sure he'll be back next week when we head to Darlington. Well, everybody's going to want to be there for Darlington for the 12th round because, Kansas is special. Darlington just has a place in everybody's hearts next week.
Yeah, Darlington is, it's the lady in black. It's, where everyone gets that racing stripe. It is been steeped in NASCAR history for so long. It's a tough track to drive. You'll see guys riding it out on that wall. You'll see them diming the corners. But I don't know if they did something with the session here, Sam. But if I'm not mistaken, it looks like almost an open qualifying, 5 minutes.
Looks that way indeed, as we have qualifying underway right now. And you're absolutely right, it's open qualifying, so anybody's game here for this one. You can pick up the draft from the driver behind you, get the fastest time possible, and get it up on the top of the board. Let's bring up the ticker for you there for this one, as 5 minutes open qualifying. This is definitely a new dynamic for everybody out on track tonight.
Everyone's been used to running single qualifying, single car qualifying, getting the 1 or 2 lap run. But here it's 5 minutes. Fastest is what you got. Got my eyes on Connor Trafari on the number 48. He's got that thing out there in the wind, but right on his tail is Nick Kessler is going to get that aero drag down the straightaway. And you know how it works, Sam. The car back, is going to be able to run the faster lap.
Yeah, and with the new draft package as well, you can really suck up to the back of the car in front of you. Obviously, that invisible bubble still present, but just want to talk about Nick Kessler's car for a second. That is probably one of the best looking paint schemes I've seen in a while. He's had a racing, obviously somebody privately customized for it, and really showing their skills out as they've put a really nice paint scheme on that Chevrolet.
Yeah, they have. I'm looking at that number 4. It's got shades of paint schemes. It looks like an amalgamation of a bunch, but it looks good on its own. As he goes right by Connor Trafari, who gets it up in the wall.
Yeah, Trafari getting it all wrong right there. But he's put a time good enough for 4th place right now. Nick Kessler at the top of the board, and Kessler gets it all wrong as well. Coming through turn 4 as a new driver in the field tonight. Braden Black out on track as well. He gets it all wrong coming out of turn 2, but good enough for 3rd place so far. Jeff Price to the top of the board in the 14 machine. And time's coming in thick and fast. Let's go to last week's winner, Greg McConey, who's making his way through turns 3 and 4 right now, out through the tri-oval, down on the apron, and you're allowed to do that. The apron is massive here at Kansas, and very much a 3rd lane right there.
Yeah, and, that's why restarts are going to be, with guys on fresh tires, it's going to be a mad scramble. Get everything you can before those tires get worn. And with the track this wide, you'll see 4 and 5 wide possibly coming on the backstretch after they take a green flag start.
Still waiting for times for a couple of drivers here, and one of them that's about to put a time in is Mr. J.D. Woodward. He goes into P4 in the number 47 machine. Cruz Hernandez Jr., Shane Newens, and Chris Parkman yet to set a time. I believe Newens is about to make his way out of pit road, so we will see a time from him pretty soon, I'm sure. Scott Warren currently sitting on the pole, though, in the number 76. He's currently sitting in pit road as Greg McConey losing the back end of that car through turn 4, and we're going to see that a lot tonight. Cold tires are going to be in effect here tonight as we're looking at Javan Cherry running a number 20 Fanatec scheme tonight, ditching the old Stanley paint scheme that he had before.
Yeah, maybe change of paint schemes will do him some good. We saw that at work with Greg Marconi at Talladega. He ran that paint scheme, and ever since he ran that paint scheme and won at Talladega, guess what? We've seen that paint scheme at several races. So, so maybe he's looking for that good juju, and maybe Jovan Cherry is thinking, let me change up and see what I get.
Absolutely. Jason Papp out on track as well in the Rowdy Energy number 1. He's currently sitting in P12 right now. As still no times from Chris Parkman, Shane Newens, and Cruz Hernandez Jr. And I don't think we will get a time in from them, as they still have not left pit road, and we've got about 40, just over 40 seconds left in qualifying.
Yeah, a little over 40 seconds. I'm not going to take qualifying as a benchmark of what we're going to see tonight, because these guys, let's face it, Sam, it's qualifying and they're pushing it hard. That's why we're seeing rear ends step out. That's why we're seeing guys wash up to the wall and not be able to keep a handle on the cars. They're pushing for every ounce of speed they can get. I think when we come to race time, they're going to settle in, figure out what they've got, and see what their car feels like on the long runs, because they got the set of tires that they're starting the race on, and they got 4 more sets in the pits to last them 120 laps here at Kansas.
Yeah, Braden Black jumping up to 3rd place. Javan Cherry going up to P4. Greg McConey in P5. There's Ryan Worley in the Cessna 00 as the checker flag is out for qualifying, and we are ready to go racing here at Kansas Speedway. And it's going to be Jeff Price stealing the pole away from Scott Warren at the death there, as we are waiting for the session to tick over to the race, and then we can bring you the grid for tonight's race. As I don't think Shane Newens is going to get a time in, unfortunately, but
I noticed Shane Newens had a connection earlier, a connection issue a little earlier, and he throughputed, got back in before qualifying ended, which is a good thing. He's going to get a grid spot. Don't know how good it's going to be, but obviously it's going to be shotgun, but he's going to get a grid spot.
Absolutely, as we're going to go to the grid for tonight's race. 17 drivers set to take the grid here tonight for this one, and starting up on the pole will be Jeff Price. I believe that's his first pole position of the season, so congratulations going out to him right now. Joining him on the front row will be Scott Warren. Row 2 will be Braden Black and Javan Cherry. Row 3 will be Greg McConey and Ryan Worley. Row 4 will be Nick Kessler and Connor Trafari. And row 5 will be JD Woodward and Logan Jones here, Byron.
Ryan Decker, he's going to go to the inside of row 6 with Shane Posey to his outside elbow, starting on the outside in the 12th position. Jason Papp's going to roll off 13th, Joe Gauthier on 14th, and the three guys that didn't get qualifying times, they're going to slot in at the back of the field, and that'll be Chris Parkman, Cruz Hernandez Jr., and Shane Newen starting shotgun, 17th on the grid. 120 laps here at Kansas. It's going to be a mad scramble on restarts, but I'm looking for these guys are probably going to be pretty much on their best behavior off of the start because they need to see where their cars are going to run in traffic, without the traffic around them. Does it handle? How's it handle 5 laps in, 10, 15, 20, 30, 40, and fuel tank, fuel load, probably going to see 50 laps out of them before the fuel window opens up.
Absolutely, as we're just seeing them waiting in pit road right now to start the formation lap. We see the return of the brand new pace car here tonight, the sedan, as they call it. They still haven't given it a name yet, but always good to see that new piece of machinery leading the field around the track.
I'm looking at it at the very front. It's got the deceptive lines of a Dodge in the front of it, which would be kind of eerie, but I don't know. But the guy driving it, he's still, that European race car driver, Pache KR, leading the field under caution.
Absolutely, as they come through 1 and 2. And we are ready to go racing for 120 laps here at Kansas Speedway. And the man starting on the pole, not yet got a race win, but finally got his first pole position of the season, so going to be looking to convert that one into his first race win. Braden Black, one driver to be watching out for on that second row. Javan Cherry, definitely one to look out for on that second row as well as they come through 3 and 4. We're ready to go racing here at Kansas with ESPN, with the Rowdy Energy Cup Series. This is round 11 of the season in 2021, and it's going to be Jeff Price going to be in control of the field once the pace car makes a left turn onto pit road, and he is right now. Jeff Price going to wait for the green flag. Barney the flagman going to wave the green flag right about now, and we are racing here at Kansas, and already people shoveling in the mid-pack here as they go down towards turn 1 for the first time here tonight, Byron.
Yep, bringing it up through the gearbox, already seeing 3 wide further back. I told you 3 wide could be happening. You could see 4, possibly 5 on the backstretch as everyone's just shuffling and jockeying for position on the fresh tires, but you got to be careful. They're also cold tires, and we need to settle in, get a run going, and see how we roll. As don't look now, but Jeff Price, he didn't get the start he was looking for. Scott Warren to the point.
No, it's not Scott Warren to the point. That's Javan Cherry, who's got off to a rocket of a start here tonight from 4th place and already in the lead and stretching the leaders. We've got 3 wide for second place on lap 2. These guys are not hanging around whatsoever as they come down the backstretch here. We've got trouble in the background there. Didn't quite see who that was, but we've got a big scramble here for second place. Braden Black currently side by side with Scott Warren there for second.
Yeah, Jason Papp is missing the front end of his car right at the moment. Caution does not come out. Jason Papp, that looks... Oh, gosh, that's looking a lot like a pavement modified right now.
Absolutely, as we go back to this battle for second place right now between Braden Black, Scott Warren, JD Woodward up to 4th place. He's made up 5 spots already in this race, and he seems up for it in that Hendrick number 47 as he come out of turn 4 down to complete lap 3. And Jeff Price has already fallen back to P6 right now. He's got off to a horrible start after starting on the pole here tonight.
Yes, he has, but you know what? Watching that battle for second place still, you're going to see these guys, they're running a high line. You see guys running the low line, and you're going to hear this term probably a bunch tonight. It's called slide job. Look at the number 36 of Braden Black. He dives it into the corner, and he slides it right up across the nose of Scott Warren. But he had to have the clear to do it, and he almost didn't, because that outside line carries so much momentum. You've got to get way out in front before you slide it back up on that track.
Absolutely, they're still fighting it out side by side as they go down the backstretch towards turn 3 right now, and at the moment it's JD Woodward in control, up 7 spots now into second place. Scott Warren is in P4 right now. He's dropped 2 spots to P4 after starting second, and Ryan Worley now up to your top 5 right there with Jeff Price right behind him. Greg McConey losing out 2 spots now. He's down to P7. Ryan Decker moving up 3 to P8. P9, Logan Jones and Colin Trafari losing out a couple of spots early on. He's down to P10. Then you've got Joe Gauthier, Chris Parman, Shane Newens, Nick Kessler. We've got 3 out already. Cruising down as Junior, Shane Posey and Jason Papp all in pit road with damage on their cars.
Yeah, the early lap 1 incident in the back of the field. Like I said, Jason Papp looked like he got the worst of that one. But, he's got to be wondering, what do I got to do to get even into the mid stages of this race? But I'm watching that battle for second. Braden Black, J.D. Woodward, still going at it. Scott Warren there. Braden keeps working that bottom line. He keeps diving it in, but he just can't get the clear because he can't carry that momentum before he has to back out of that throttle, because there's J.D. Woodward right to his outside. And he needs to wash up the track to keep that momentum going, but he can't with the car right on his outside door.
Yeah, Woodward just cutting the nose off Braden Black there and just saying, no, thank you. I'm not letting you by anytime soon, as they still go at it for second place. Scott Warren still in the conversation as well, as Braden Black having a couple of connection issues right there. Ryan Worley now getting himself in with a shout as well, as he rides the outside wall right behind Scott Warren, looking for an advancement in position, as Greg McConey and Jeff Price fighting out behind him. Javon Cherry, meanwhile, is gone.
Yeah, riding that outside wall like we see Worley doing, you really got to commit to that strategy of staying up there. And what is that going to get you? That keeps your car wound up with all the momentum, because you're on the top side of the track. And it's going to give you the most speed, but you got to be careful as those tires wear. Your car gets a little tight, you're going to have pancake the right side of your car on that outside wall.
And we've had a problem for Nick Kessler as well. He's in pit road with damage on his car. As now Scott Warren has found himself up to second place. Braden Black is in third now. JD Woodward has dropped to P4. Ryan Worley still in that top 5, but really looking to try and find a gap around that 47, as Greg McConey still right there as well. Javon Cherry, it looks like Scott Warren is actually starting to close the gap on Javon Cherry ever so slightly, as the time is fluctuating up and down between the two. So like every time Scott Warren closes the gap, Javon Cherry responds and extends it ever so slightly ever again.
Yep. Try to go back and take a look, see what happened to Nick Kessler. He must have been caught up in that lap 1 incident, because I've gone back several laps, and he still looks like a pavement modified sitting there.
Yeah, that's 4 drivers that have had to make a visit to pit road so far and have not returned out of pit road, as we're seeing Ryan Worley still right on the back of JD Woodward as they come through the trial with it, and Worley needed to be careful there, nearly cut the nose off his own teammate there as they come screaming down towards turn 1. We're already on lap 12 of 120. Here is Worley, gets it all wrong into the wall, has to save it, and he's going to have to let his teammate by. He's probably going to have to let Jeff Price by as well. Big mistake there by the 00.
Yeah, like I said, that is a huge commitment to run that top line, and if you send it just ever so over the line, that's exactly what happens. You see that back end step out, and he did a hell of a job of recovering it, but he did give up a bunch of track position back down to the 6th position.
As things stand right now, we only have 13 drivers on the lead lap, and this has all the ingredients of probably lights to flag, green flag run here. But I don't want to tempt fate. We are only on lap 13 of 120, going over to lap 14. With only 13 drivers left on the lead lap here, Byron, we could be going green all the way here with not so many incidents going to be on the fall.
Well, I don't know, because we're going to have to wait and see how this fuel run progresses. because you and I both know that they're burning up the right rear on that car, on those tires, by running those different lines. Getting in those battles just eat up your traction. As I'm watching JD Woodward up high up against that wall right now, and here comes Greg Marconi trying on the lower side to catch up to him, gets up to his back bumper as Woodward comes down and closes the door on him.
Yeah, and I'm just noticing Ryan Worley is bleeding spots right now, and actually he might have got something wrong here because he is slow. And let's take a look and see what happened to him here. He's had some kind of incident fighting with Ryan Decker. We've gone back pretty far here. Let's take a look and see what happened to him here. And it's out of turn 4. Big hit into the wall for Ryan Worley. So Worley, that bad handling on the car still hurting him, and it really hurt him big time, as there goes Chris Partman to his outside as well, and he's going to lose another spot here. That 00 is going to be down on power big time now.
Yeah, he just got loose. Like I said, it's a huge commitment. It takes a brave soul to run that Larson line like we've seen. But, you know, these guys, they watched the NASCAR race yesterday. They saw Kyle Larson was the dominant car the whole race through, running that top groove line. But, you know, Kyle Larson, he's one heck of a dirt racer. He stayed up there and gained all that momentum. As I'm taking a look at Jason Papp coming back on the track now as the leaders go by him, hats off to Jason Papp. 13 laps down, he's still going to run that car around that track, get everything he can. I think he's figuring, you know what, attrition might take over a bit more, and I can gain me a few more spots.
Yeah, because Cruz Hernandez Jr. is out. Nick Kessler is back out on track, and he's actually running faster than a lot of the drivers out there. He's just overtaken Ryan Decker. Not for position, though.
Shane Posey on the hauler. Cruz Hernandez Jr. on the hauler. Jason Papp's going to go out there and get a few more laps in to get ahead of Cruz Hernandez Jr. and think about getting by some other cars while he's at it through attrition.
Greg McConey just steamed by Braden Black just then. Big power move, but a big slide there out of turn 4 as McConey now finds himself in 3rd place. Now he can try and hunt down Scott Warren if he can, but Braden Black wants that position back as quickly as possible. JD Woodward is right there too. McConey favouring the inside line through 1 and 2, whereas Black and Woodward favouring the outside line. And here comes Nick Kessler with a very speedy pavement modified, just trying to get his laps back the hard way.
Yeah, well, he must have just been on pit road and have fresh tires. And if that's the case, a damaged car with fresh tires turning faster laps than an intact car on older tires gives you a good feeling of exactly how important tires are going to be here at Kansas tonight.
Yeah, and look how easily he's just going to go around the outside of McConey there through turn 2. And that's the difference between old tires and new tires. And believe it or not, we're already on lap 20. Once Javon Cherry crosses the line, we'll only have 100 laps to go. And now this is a same kind of distance track as the one we saw last night, Las Vegas. But for some reason, Kansas seems to run a lot faster than any of the other cookie cutters we see on the schedule.
I think it's because we see the side-by-side racing. I think it's because, you know, we get more excitement out of it because it's got a wider track. You know, it looks faster as these guys can search for traction up and down the track, run multiple lines according to what they need. It's the same distance in, you know, a measurement. It just seems to run faster because they're actually turning a slower miles per hour than the guys last night were in Vegas.
Yeah, track temperature right now is 108 degrees Fahrenheit. It may be partly cloudy out there, but it's definitely not cool. And the track down is Ryan Decker almost losing the back end, and is going to have to let Jason Papp by as he recovers his momentum once again. Logan Jones nearly had a moment going through the tri-oval just a minute ago, as we are slowly but surely about to see a battle for second place. It's Scott Warren being caught by Greg McConey as things stand right now.
Yeah, and I'm checking the lap times of Jovan Cherry. He laid down a qualifying lap of 30.293 seconds. His last lap, you know, and he's in clean air, his last lap running his line was a 31.986. So he is over a second and a half off of his fresh tire qualifying pace. The second and a half give up in 20 laps, and they're going to run another 20. So they're going to be running 3 seconds a lap slower by the end of a fuel run. So the guys are going to want to use tire strategy and tire management to its max here at Kansas.
Big hello to everybody watching on YouTube and to those watching on the iRacing live portal. I hope you're enjoying the show, and everybody watching on Twitch as well. Hopefully you're enjoying things over on that side as well, as we continue on here. Already on lap 24 here on the 11th round of the Rowdy Energy Cup Series. We're looking at Connor Trafari right now, just running a steady race right now, not really getting into any issues. The pole sitter, Jeff Price, right ahead of him though. Had a bad start, but not really gone backwards here, Byron. He's just managed to maintain where he dropped to, and that is P6 right now.
Yeah, he's just holding himself right there, and that's the whole key right now. Run consistent laps, maintain, figure your car out, see how it's going to feel early in the run, mid-run, late run, so you know what you've got when you need it, but don't lose track of the leaders to the point where you can't catch back up to them. And a 5.5 second deficit to the lead car, Jovan Cherry, is starting to lose track of the leader.
Yeah, and speaking of people near the front, the battle lines have been drawn here now. Scott Warren and Greg McConey going to battle it out for that second spot, and behind them we're going to see a battle possibly between JD Woodward and Braden Black here, as they're close together as well. So we've got 3 separate battles going on right here. We've got the battle for second place between Scott Warren and Greg McConey. We've got the battle for 4th place between Braden Black and JD Woodward. We also have a battle for P6 between Jeff Price and Connor Trafari. Everything else behind them, not really that actually, there is a battle for 8th place between Logan Jones and Ryan Decker as well.
Yeah, it looks like, the guy in the back is just going to focus on the guy in the front as Jason Papp goes by Connor Trafari, and he sets his sights on Jeff Price. But Papp on a lot fresher tires after that extended stay in pit lane. You can't imagine that car is going to stay that competitive as he goes through with that much damage on it. But he's out there turning laps, and Jason Papp has already passed Cruz Hernandez Jr.
Believe it or not, that is actually a Toyota that Jason Papp is driving. You can't really tell because you can't really see the Toyota badge on the front of the car, but you can tell by the chassis kind of. But yeah, that's a Toyota.
Yeah, Jovan Cherry had legged out a longer lead, but now that lead seems to be coming down. Scott Warren only 2.5 seconds behind him, and Greg Marconi is closing the distance on Scott Warren.
Yeah, and they're coming up to put a lap on Nick Kessler. Remember, Kessler was unlapping himself and just flying around people recently, but Kessler bringing it back to pit road here. I think he's had an incident somewhere as Kessler gets it all wrong on pit entry and goes sideways, can't get it straightened out, finally does, and will have the speed there to come into pit road. But I wonder if he's had another incident there that's put him as slow as he was and brought him back to pit road here as we go back to this battle for second place between Greg McConey. It's not really much of a battle anymore as McConey seems to have lost some momentum there. He's about half a second behind now.
Yeah, all it takes is a tiny little bobble. All you got to do is push just a little too hard coming off a corner exit, getting back to that throttle. And that right rear, if you've abused it, is not going to stick, and you're going to get that wiggle and lose that momentum.
Absolutely. The closest battle on track right now is still between Braden Black and JD Woodward, as Black still hugging that outside wall. JD Woodward trying to go with him, but slightly lower down the track, as it looks like Trafari starting to try and close the gap between himself and the 47, as this battle between the 36 and the 47 really not really going anywhere. They're in a bit of a stalemate right now.
Yeah, they've used up all the goodie on their tires. They're just holding serve right now until they can get to pit lane. Get some more go fast in the tank, get some more rubber on all 4 corners of the car so they can go back out and battle it again. But, the great equalizer that's going to throw all sorts of stuff at them is if the caution should come out, re-rack them, stack them, and pack them, and that's when you're going to see some serious racing, is if we get a restart. But right now, as Woodward looking on the low side, makes that slide up to the top. He did cut some of that distance off of Braden Black, got closer to his rear bumper. Give it a couple more laps, and he just might have the gumption to get around him.
Yeah, and the gap has come down between Scott Warren and Greg McConey again. Again, this battle for second place starting to heat up again as they're coming up to put another lap on Nick Kessler as he makes his way in towards turn 3. The other two right behind him. Javon Cherry now up to 3.4 seconds is the lead, so he's managed to gain another second somewhere while these guys have been battling behind him.
Yeah, I'm watching J.D. Woodward. He keeps looking for that low groove pass, but unless he carries a lot more speed into the corner when he dives it down and he pulls left on that steering wheel, he's just got no way he's going to clear Braden Black on the slide job. So he just slots right back in him. He's following him around turn 1 and 2 on the high side. He makes his move down low in turns 3 and 4. We'll see if he can, continues to try that strategy and see what happens.
Pit stops are looming here at Kansas. Braden Black almost gets it all wrong out of turn 4. Like I said before, that incident happened right there. Pit stops are looming here. We're on lap 35 of 120. I'm expecting probably another 5, maybe another 10 laps before they bring it in here, Byron, and that's where the real strategy starts to come into play.
Yeah, I think when you see the first car flinch to pit road, everyone else is going to do it because you're losing too much time if you're out there on old tires and someone comes out of the pits on new tires. As our leader crosses the line, last lap he turned 32.387. Remember, now he's a full 2 seconds off and then some off of his qualifying speed at 36 laps on the tires. So if he stays out, say Scott Warren pits, Scott Warren's going to have 2 second a lap advantage on him for every lap that Jovan Cherry stays out on that track. And these are the things you need to think of when you're planning your pit strategy, is when to come and take that fresh rubber to maximize the time on track and your lap times.
J.D. Woodward has finally got around Braden Black, and Black has had another issue out of turn 4, and that is the reason why. So Black's starting to feel those tires now, and you can definitely tell he is, because that gap has really shrunk out between himself and J.D. Woodward right now, and Black really looks like he's driving on ice at the moment.
Yeah, he's pushed that really hard. He's heated those rear tires up with this hot track temperature and him pushing, trying to get back to that throttle. I'd say that right rear is really been abused on that car. As he gets loose again, driving it right on the edge of control coming out of turn 4.
Yeah, look who's catching him. Right behind him now is Connor Trafari, and you got to say, Connor Trafari...
Oh, it scrapes the wall, Braden Black does.
And he's still in the wall. Wow. So
he left a long stripe around there.
Yeah, he did, and he's going to have to bring it down to pit road and see if he can get that fixed right now. Those tires are completely gone on that Coca-Cola number 36 as Trafari now promotes himself up to P5, and it won't be long before Jeff Price catches him as well.
Well, you know, Braden Black started in the 3rd position, stayed up there, but he just pushed that car a little too hard for what he's doing, and just wore the goodie clean off the tires. And the other guys that were taking care of him, not pushing so hard, are able to gain the pace on him. As Scott Warren reeled in Jovan Cherry, he's only 2.5 seconds back behind him. Greg Marconi, another just under a second behind Scott Warren, and J.D. Woodward on an island all by himself as he's trying to track down Marconi, but he's got a long way to go to get there. Yeah,
we just saw on my time and scoring, Ryan Worley has been down pit road. Remember, he smacked the wall earlier and has been on the back foot ever since. He's probably gone in to repair a bit more damage, but first of the lead lap drivers to bring it down pit road and get fresh tires.
Yeah, Ryan Worley. Okay, one has come in. We'll see if anyone else flinches. Everyone's basically paying attention to Jovan Cherry. Jovan is paying attention to who's pitting behind him, because if Scott Warren or Greg Marconi come into the pit, look for Jovan to come in the very next lap.
Ryan Decker in pit road as well as he comes down for his first stop of the night in the number 28 machine and the number 28 Budweiser black machine as he comes into his pit stall. So another one of the, well, you said he was going to blink next. It was definitely going to be Ryan Decker, wasn't it?
Yeah, Right side tires going on, fuel going in, left side tires going on.
Here we go.
Cars down, clean pit stop as the 28 of Ryan Decker exits pit lane.
Yeah, and the 36 and the 14 are in. Braden Black, it was only a matter of time before he brought it down pit road and now finds himself in pit lane with Jeff Price ahead of him going into pit road. So Price managed to get the pass done in pit road on Braden Black and see if he can hold on to that position, as pit stops are definitely becoming a factor here in this race for the first time here tonight, as JD Woodward is definitely closing that gap now on Greg McConey.
Yeah, JD Woodward working it out there. Damage, no damage repair being done on the number 36 machine of Braden Black. But Jeff Price beats him back out off of pit road. Now, these guys are going to be laying down a lot faster times to your leader, Jovan Cherry. So Jovan's got to be wondering, should I come in now? Is my strategy calling for me to come in this fuel window when everyone else is starting to come in, or not?
Well, the rule of oval racing is the longer you leave it out against your rivals, the worse you're going to be. So he needs to kind of pick his times carefully, and thankfully the drivers that he's battling with for the win have not brought it into pit road yet. So he's kind of in a good spot right now, but he doesn't want to leave it too long.
No, he doesn't, because the back markers on the lead lap, they've come in, they've taken their tires and their fuel, and like I said, they're going to be 2 seconds a lap faster than the leaders.
Oh, Woodward into the wall. He scraped the wall coming through turns 1 and 2. That right rear is just stepped out ever so slightly. It was only a little bit of a scrape, but definitely won't want to be doing that too often, as he goes really high and nearly hits the wall again.
Yeah, he's keeping it up there, trying to run that tire saving line. Notice that he gained a lot of position or track real estate on Greg Marconi. So, he's trying to get that pass done on Marconi before the pit stop. As he dials down the low lane, Marconi up high, but he's not going to get the clear as he slots up right behind him.
Yeah, and that error push nearly became a thing there for Woodward. He had to back off out of turn 2 there.
Lost a ton of momentum.
Yeah, he did. He had to really back off. He was almost into the wall there. We just saw a pass for 11th place between Ryan Decker and Braden Black. Now, these guys are really going at it for the spot now, as they've just been in pit road. Braden Black came in a lap after Ryan Decker, but still managed to get the position back. These guys are not leaving anything else on the table, as Decker almost losing that car coming out of turn 4 right there, but this battle still raging on as they come down towards turn 1.
Yeah, they got the freshest tires out there on the track, so they're going to throw haymakers as we see Braden Black go right back underneath Ryan Decker and pulls that slide job right back up. They're laying down laps at 30 seconds a lap as opposed to the leader at 32.2. So Jovan needs to get himself into pit lane and get a good stop. But Braden Black and Ryan Decker also need to mitigate the fact that we don't need to abuse our stuff fighting each other this early in the race. Don't fight too hard, because you're going to be paying for it at the end of a long fuel run, as we have yet to see the caution, and we're working lap 47 of 120.
Yeah, JD Woodward has passed Greg McConey for 3rd place now, and those tires starting to become a factor or a problem for Greg McConey. In fact, as now Woodward finds himself in the last spot on the podium, but with still half of this race left to go. We're only on lap 49, let's not forget. There is still plenty of racing left to do, and there's still 15 drivers left in this race. Only 13 lead lap cars on the track, as Ryan Worley, Ryan Decker, Braden Black and Jeff Price will get back on the lead lap once the leaders bring it down. But when will that be? We don't even know yet, because, well, none of the top 5 have been down yet.
No, they haven't. So obviously they've committed to the strategy. I'm going to find out where the bottom of the fuel tank is on this run. Jovan Cherry still keeping it out there, turning 32.2 second laps. Scott Warren doing the same thing, 32.4 on his last lap. But the last car that I saw in, let's take a look at Ryan Decker. He's out there turning 31.2. He's already lost a second of pace off of the new tires, and he was just in, 5 to 10 laps ago?
Yeah, as we're looking from the left window of Ryan Decker as he makes his way through the trial here. And we're just going to stay on board with Decker as we turn a lap with the number 28 driver as he makes his way in towards turn 1 and through turn 2. Opting for that high line as he looks for the backstretch right now. Staying high for the time being. Going to elect to go to the slightly middle, but still going to elect that high line going through 3 and 4. This is what a lap looks like here at Kansas. The banking not as high as the other cookie cutters we've seen on the schedule, but still very effective on those tires here, Byron.
Yeah, but listen to his throttle input. He's driving that car with his right foot. That's what we were talking about at the beginning of the race. The guy that can drive it with the right foot the best is going to have the best results. As you see him working up on the backside of, who's that right in front of him?
That's Chris
That'd
Parkman.
be Chris Parkman.
Yeah, and Parkman's a lap ahead. He's up into P6 right now. I'm just seeing somebody's been down pit road and I didn't quite see who it was because Parkman's promoted himself up to P6 now. I don't know who it was, but anyway, Shane Newen's there in P9. He's had a better race this time around, even though he's just been lapped. But Newen's, we've seen the last couple of races in the 2 series that we've seen him in, the Circle B Diecast Super Speedway Series and last week's race at Talladega. He's been very much losing the draft of the pack very early on. Not such the case this time around, just not really had the pace, but still keeping it up there in P9 on not on the lead lap though.
Yeah, but the draft here at this track isn't as prevalent as it is at the longer tracks that we go to. Yeah, it is a thing. You need the aerodynamics of the car, but it doesn't have so much of an effect. And you've seen how fast Jason Papp was passing people with a damaged car and fresh tires. So, yeah, mechanical grip, you need a lot more of it here than you do at the Super Speedway, and a little less of the aero, but you still need to keep the corners on it.
J.D. Woodward has somehow managed to close that gap between himself and Scott Warren, and is passing on the outside of the 76 and now the 47. Finds himself up to second place. I'm thinking J.D. Woodward has a long run car here tonight because he has been absolutely on it since for the past 20 laps now.
Yeah, he has, and these guys have yet to see pit lane yet, and they're stretching it out. 56 laps, and they haven't seen the pit lane. They've got to be hitting.
J.D. Woodward gets it to the wall through 1 and 2, but still able to keep it out ahead of Scott Warren. And it was Jeff Price. No, Jeff Price is still trying to work his way back on the lead lap after being in pit road himself. And again, the longer these guys leave it out on track, the more time they're going to lose once they bring it into pit road. And Jeff Price, who's the first driver of the people that have brought it down to pit road, is starting to go by the leaders now and will find himself back on the lead lap before too long.
Well, he's going by the leaders. Now think about it. He's just one lap down. Jovan Cherry needs to come into pit lane. He needs to make a clean pit stop, and where he cycles back out is going to be very close to where Jeff Price is. So did Jeff Price make the undercut by coming in earlier, or is Jovan Cherry getting the overcut by staying out that long? We'll have to wait and see.
As Jeff Price makes his way by J.D. Woodward to put himself back on the lead lap with regards to the 47 now. He will go in search of the race leader. You see him at the very end of the backstretch here, making his way towards turn 3 and 4. That's how far ahead he is of J.D. Woodward. But Price has a faster car right now with the fresher tires. It won't be long before he's on the back of that number 20 machine.
Yeah, but you also got to figure, guys that came in on lap 40, they're coming up to 20 laps on their tires. Jovan Cherry has not yet pit. When Jovan gets that fresh rubber on that car, he's going to be really fast, and those guys are going to be a second and a half off the pace. So strategy, it's, 6 of one, half a dozen of the other. At this point, you've pretty much made your bed, and it's time to lie in it as Jovan Cherry brings her back across the start-finish line, closes out lap 59, working lap 60 right now. Next time by the start-finish line, cross flags in the air halfway.
We've got 3 in pit road right now. Scott Warren, Greg McConey, Colin Trafari, and actually making 4 with Chris Parkman bringing it down. People starting to bring it down out of the top 5, maybe top 6 now with Parkman coming in. Logan Jones going to promote himself forward as he goes on the track, as that is very important there, probably for Scott Warren, Greg McConaughey, Colin Trafari and Chris Parkman, because actually now Javon Cherry decides to bring it down pit road in response to those coming into pit road. JD Woodward going to come down as well, and I believe Logan Jones will be the next one to bring it down. I'm wondering if this is going to give the lead of the race to Jeff Price, and I think it will, you know.
Yeah, like I said, but Jeff Price, he pitted a lot earlier. He's going to be a second and a half off of the pace with these cars that are pitting now. It's going to be interesting to see where this cycles out. I've got my eyes on Jeff Price right now as he's bringing it around, crosses the start-finish line right now.
Yeah, you see him right here, just coming across in towards turn 1, and he's already passed Javon Cherry. He's already about 5, coming up to 6 seconds ahead of the number 20, and he will lose. Cherry's going to lose a couple of spots here because Braden Black and Ryan Decker have gone by as well, and they're battling out for what is second place right now. And there is Javon Cherry coming out of pit road. I wonder if this late pit stop has probably hurt him at this present moment. But like you said,
yeah,
the old tires might have a factor in this as well for the guys in front of him.
Yeah, as he Javon Cherry crosses the start finish line, he is 8.5 seconds behind your leader, Jeff Price. But now we need to pay attention to lap times. Jeff Price, his last lap, 31.879.
Oh, Price is in the wall. Jeff Price just hit the wall going through 3 and 4.
Yeah, he was trying to get all he could. So it's, wow. Look at Javon Cherry fly. He just went right by Ryan Decker and Braden Black.
And Jeff Price has surely got some damage on that 14 now, so Javon Cherry will be looking for that wounded animal right in his crosshairs, and he's just almost ready to pull the trigger right there.
Yeah, Javon Cherry turned a lap in at 30.492 on fresh tires. Ryan Decker, 32.643. Jeff Price, 32.124. That's how much, fresh rubber means. Javon Cherry is going to overtake Jeff Price probably within the next 3 to 5 laps. And game on, as we are more than halfway home. Haven't seen a caution yet, Sam. Don't want to jinx it all, but these guys are putting on a heck of a show here at Kansas.
Yeah, like I said at the start of the race, this had all the ingredients of a pillar-to-post green flag run here as we are working lap 65 now of 120. That means we are past halfway, which means we are going to go for our one and only commercial break of the night. So make sure you stick around. Do not go anywhere. We have more racing action for you as the first round of pit stops have just come to an end. Do not go anywhere.
Worth noting, it is between two drivers for the championship. One, Lubomir Moritz of Positive Sim Racing. One, Paul Ilbrink of course, Radicals Online. Paul Ilbrink with a storming start. He's had to really work off the challenges.
Or Ilbrink, pardon me.
Ilbrink is off. The battle will rage and intensify.
We are back to racing here at Kansas Speedway for round 11 of the Rowdy Energy Cup Series, and Javan Cherry, while we were in commercial, was able to take the lead back away from Jeff Price, and that was owing to probably, well, one of two factors: the new tyres on Javan Cherry and the damage on the right front of Jeff Price right here, Byron.
Yeah, he just ran away with it. He's already 3.2 seconds up the track. And, you know, I want to give a shout out, and my hat's off to Jason Papp. He's got that damaged Toyota, that Rowdy Energy Toyota. Well, you can't even see the Rowdy on the hood because it's kind of missing, but oh, there it is. But anyway, he's sticking it out there. Shane Newlands just put it on the hauler. Jason Papp's got to go 8 more laps, and he's going to pick up another position. This is hats off to someone that's got the gumption to stick it out on the track and get as much as he can. You know, normally someone would have parked it long ago. Not Jason Papp. He's going to get every point that he can.
Yeah, Shane Posey retiring on lap 2. Cruz Hernandez Jr. retiring on lap 5. Shane Newlands only making it to lap 61. So, unfortunate for him as we go back to our leader, Javan Cherry. He's already out to a 6-second lead over Scott Warren, who's just got around the 14.
Yeah. Sorry about that. Jeff Price. Cars, older tires, got a bit of damage. Driving like he's got a parachute on the back of it. All he can do is hang on to it until he hits his fuel window and bring it down to pit lane one more time.
I did say this might hurt Javan Cherry and Scott Warren, but it actually didn't. They've put themselves actually in a position where they only have to make one more pit stop before this is over. I believe Jeff Price and all the other ones that pitted early, they might have to make 2 more pit stops before this is over.
Yeah. So that puts Javan Cherry on a 1-2 stop strategy where everyone else is on a 3. And, you know, even if you are 2 seconds a lap slower on old tires, you're still going to get out there and turn a lap before someone can get in, get their tires, and get out.
Yeah, and Jeff Price is going to be staring down the barrel of a loaded gun here, because Greg McConey and Connor Trafari are closing in very quickly as well. Biggest loser from the pit stops is actually JD Woodward. He has fallen well off the pace, and I don't expect him to be that far back for too long, because we've already mentioned he does have a car that's more suited to the long run here, and he's just got into contact with Ryan Worley. That was interesting. We might see a caution here, but Worley looks like he might have saved it there.
Yeah, Worley saved it, got it back on the track, manages to avoid everyone. I'm going to go back and take a look at that myself. Was that a bit of contact in the back? JD Woodward, yes, it was. He just had a lot faster closing speed than I think he thought he did.
Yeah.
And just give Worley a push out of the way. Checking the driver's chat, Connor Trafari said, temper's flaring.
Yeah, tempers are flaring as Woodward trying to close the gap to Trafari right now. Not able to do so right now as Trafari
sure has caught Marconi.
Yeah, well, he's been there since the pit stops. They've both been together since the pit stop, so not really been able to be separated from each other, as they're now right on the back of Jeff Price now, and that is what we were expecting. As I said earlier, Jeff Price looking down the barrel of a loaded gun, and it's about to go off in a big way right now.
Yes, it is. Javan Cherry has just completely stepped it out, 7.5 seconds out over the field. As we're working lap 76 of 120, this race is flying by a lot faster than I thought it was going to.
Which is good, because I got chicken wings in the oven, and I'm hungry. Anyway, I'm joking. Jeff Price is dropped to P4 now. He's going to be passed by Connor Trafari before too long, but he made a good run of it, did Jeff Price. Started on the pole, fell back early, made a really early pit stop for himself. Same for Ryan Decker. Had a good run for the most part and has fallen back to P7 because of the old tyres. Same for Braden Black. He's fallen back as well. And he's going to get caught by Chris Parkman soon as well as Ryan Worley, understandably, in pit road. And he will get a penalty, actually, because he crossed that blue cone while he was trying to save the car.
Yeah, Greg Marconi just put the slide job on Jeff Price. Next on the hit list for Jeff Price in his rearview mirror is Connor Trafari. Because Connor, seen how Marconi was able to complete the pass, and he just goes for that same strategy, dials up the low lane, and closes the gap, goes way low and turns, off of turn 4, heading into turn 1 or 2, gains even more real estate as they hustle it off into 1 and 2, and he is now pulling even.
Yeah, Price is in for his second stop of the night, and yeah, this might actually help him to the end here, but I don't think he's going to have the pace at the end. It will be 40 laps to go. Well, it's actually 41 laps to go before the end of the race, so he is bringing it into pit road now just to cover himself off. Jovan Cherry out to an 8.4 second lead over Scott Warren, and Scott Warren has a reason to look in his mirrors because Greg McConey starting to close that gap to that number 76 now.
Yeah, Connor Trafari getting a little loose on exit of turn 4 there, but you got to be wondering, Jovan Cherry ran darn near 60 laps, darn near halfway on this thing. You got to wonder if he's thinking he can leg it all the way out, or is he going to split this and come in at, say, lap 90, go 30 laps and 30 laps? I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see how this strategy plays off.
He definitely can't make it to the end. We know that, as Ryan Decker is also in pit road as well. Just a word of something to point out. Ryan Worley did not get a penalty for impeding the pit lane limits, so he managed to get in for a pit stop and come back out again. But Worley now about, I think it's 2 laps down now, possibly 3 laps down. So unfortunate for him, as Braden Black in the Coca-Cola 36 going to bring it down to pit road as well.
Yep, we're seeing green flag stops happening again. So you got to wonder if the leader is going to, I'll bet you Jovan Cherry is just going to watch his rear delta, see who's closing in, pay attention to who has been on pit lane, as we're down to 6 cars left on the lead lap due to pit cycles again. Yeah,
Logan Jones is the first driver a lap down. Now Chris Parkman is the last driver on the lead lap. This is very uncharacteristic of Chris Parkman. He's usually quite fast, but unfortunately a bit off the pace here at Kansas. Maybe
Kansas seems to have thrown a few drivers for a loop tonight.
Yeah. Normally the usual people at the front, like Ryan Worley, Nick Kessler, even Cruz Hernandez Jr. has had a horrible night tonight. He was on the hauler within 5 laps and not having a good run here tonight, as we're looking at Scott Warren, the Canadian, really having a good night tonight, just sitting there in second place. Had a good qualifying session, started second, is in second, exactly where he started. Just a pretty decent night for himself, and if he can keep it up there, gonna have a good haul of points here as well tonight.
Yeah, he's just, kind of out there rolling around by himself on an island, running his lane, saving his tires as best he can. And I'm sitting here doing the math, wondering, okay, when is our leader going to come in? I'll bet you he hangs it out there to lap 100.
Yeah, that's about somewhere in that ballpark, as Warren not able to close the gap right now. The gap is 8.5 seconds to Jovan Cherry, as he's actually managed to extend the gap to himself and Greg McConey. So probably saw that gap was coming down slightly between himself and the 12 and responded in some way and managed to gain half a second. Trafari not able to close in on the back of Greg McConey at the moment, just sitting back there in P4 at the moment.
Yeah, Marconi's just out there, hanging on to it. Trafari looks like that rear end's kind of burnt that right rear off. He might have pushed a little too hard and doesn't have enough of it left in it to catch back up. Just going to hold himself in the 4th. Wait till the next pit cycle and see what he can do.
Now Jason Papp in pit road as well now for his next stop as we're going back to Greg McConey there. Just going to put a lap on Nick Kessler right now. And Trafari very close to that wall out of turn 2, and he might have hit the wall there as, yeah, he might have got a bit too close for comfort there in the 48.
Well, he's missing a layer or two of paint on the right side of his car if he didn't touch that wall, I'll tell you that much. Yeah, if he didn't hit it, you couldn't get any closer.
Absolutely, as he comes through the tri-oval now. Down towards turn 1. We're on lap 88 of 120 with less than 40 laps to go. It has been green all the way since lap 1. And it hasn't come without its fair share of problems. A big collision between Jason Papp, Cruz Hernandez Jr. and Shane Posey, putting 2 of those drivers on the hauler. I believe Nick Kessler was involved in that as well. So he's been on the back foot ever since, and it's just been plain sailing for a lot of the drivers since then. Jeff Price has just made his second and possibly last pit stop of the night, so we'll be keeping a keen eye on him to see how he will be once the rest of the field brings it down pit road, but probably will not have the pace to try and bring this one to victory lane, unfortunately.
Well, we were thinking Jovan Cherry might have shot himself in the foot by keeping it out as long as he did, but when those green cycles, those pit stops happened under green, it cycled out. Well, he didn't shoot himself in the foot. He shot everyone else in the back. Boy, he just got a good lead on it, on those fresh tires, out there holding it as he puts a lap on, who was that? Braden Black, got another lap on him.
Yeah, Braden Black. Actually, Braden Black is about to unlap himself. He's just been in pit road, so Black is trying to get a lap back, and that will be back to 1 lap down again for the driver of the Coca-Cola machine. But Jovan Cherry is not making it easy for him at all.
No, he's not.
There he goes. Back to 1 lap down is Braden Black, and he's right in the back of Ryan Worley. I'm not sure if that's for position or if it is not.
That is for position, isn't it?
It is. Yeah, no, it's not. Braden Black is a lap ahead of Worley.
Well, we're about to find out as they cross the start-finish line. Braden Black 1 lap ahead of Ryan Worley.
Yep. I love it when I'm right. Anyway, no real battles going on right now. Connor Trafari is still keeping that gap between himself and Greg McConey to about a second. Everybody else just running their laps now, just running the laps down before the checker flag here tonight. Not really any close racing right now. It's turning in to, and I hate saying this in a stock car race, a bit of a procession here tonight.
Yeah, a little bit. As these tires wear, they don't have very much maneuverability, as you've seen. Cars will head up to that outside wall if you push it just too hard. So at this stage of the race, yeah, they're running where they got, what they got on the track, holding their line. As I see Jason Patz finally put it on the hauler and settled for P14 tonight.
Yeah, so that leaves 13 drivers left running in this race, and that's what we were left with after the melee on lap 1. At that point. So unfortunately, Pap, Newens, Cruz Hernandez Jr. and Shane Posey all on the hauler. I'm not sure why Shane Newens ended his night. I didn't see any damage on his car, so maybe just felt he was too far back and probably didn't want to make up the positions in the end.
Now, Jason Pap held it out there long enough to get a bunch more laps on Shane Newens, so he gained another position. He knew he wasn't going to get another position on Nick Kessler and decided to call it a night at that point. 6 cars left on the lead lap, last one being Chris Parkman, who's had a very quiet night. Started 15th, running in 6th. Shout out to the number 15 pilot, Chris Parkman, having a quiet night below the radar, getting himself up well inside the top 10.
Yeah, but it's a bit off colour for Chris Parkman. He's since he joined the series, I believe back at Martinsville, not really being on the pace here for the driver of the 15. Actually, I think he made his debut at Phoenix, I will be honest. Was it Phoenix? I don't know. Anyway, it's been a bit off colour here tonight, but hopefully he'll bring it back when we head to Darlington next week, as Greg McConey still not able to close that gap. And Connor Trafari actually starting to close the gap between himself and McConey now.
Yeah, ever so slightly crawling in as they come up on the end of this fuel run, wondering when Jovan Cherry's going to bring it in. I'm thinking he's probably going to bring it in about lap 100, leave himself 20 laps to go on those fresh tires. And he was laying down some blistering laps on fresh tires. Even at 20 laps, he was still faster than the field.
Well, he's still 8/1000th of a second faster than Scott Warren at the moment. As Trafari, I just noticed, almost lost the back end coming out of turn 4 before we tried to go to Scott Warren just then. Looks like the tire's starting to go on that number 48. He needs to be careful at this point. He's lost a bit of momentum. Not too much. Managed to keep that gap between himself and McConaughey to less than a second.
Yeah, now you need to ask yourself, when do I bring it in? Because I know I'm coming up on 20 to go on this thing. I know I need fresh rubber. These things are shot. I've got a fresh set and another fresh, I've got a couple of fresh sets in the pits in case we get another caution, towards the end of the race. These guys got to ask themselves, okay, do I go for the fast track speed now or do I wait another few laps? But Jovan Cherry's got to be finding the bottom of the fuel tank. He's going to be looking for pit lane here sometime soon.
Problem is, he's still extending his gap out there in the lead. He's just coming up to Ryan Worley to put another lap on him. It's just been absolutely dominant from Jovan Cherry. Started in P4, let's not forget, and by the end of lap 1, he was in the lead. So, an absolute monster of a start by the man in the 20, and he's just picking up from where he left off 2 weeks ago. Obviously missed last week's race at Talladega, but absolutely annihilated everybody at Martinsville the week before. Richmond, sorry, the week before that.
Now I got to start wondering how would this race have played out if Cedric Hunter was in here.
Yeah, that would have been interesting. I mean, the last cookie cutter we went to, Cedric Hunter was absolutely on there, and he's been on. He was really up there at the front. If he was here tonight, he'd probably be giving Jovan Cherry a very big run for his money as Ryan Worley gets it all wrong out of turn 2. And he's going to try and get it down below the yellow line. He does. And again, there is the caution. Yeah, there it is. And
that was enough to bring the caution out.
And it was.
Yeah, now we're going to see what I was telling you about. You're going to see a mad land rush to pit lane. Everyone's going to take fresh rubber and fuel, and then wait till that green flag flies, Sam. You're going to see the biggest mad scramble you've seen in a long time, for position at the beginning of a run.
Question is, are they going to be able to beat Jovan Cherry on the restart? We saw that monster start he had on lap 1 to move his way from 4th up to the lead. And this kind of does not work out for Jeff Price, because he was banking on them making a pit stop to get himself back to the front and then probably see a caution. Now, he's not even going to get the lucky dog here, because that's going to go to Logan Jones.
Yeah, the only way he's going to get back on the lead lap is to take a wave around, but he's got to come to pit. Well, we saw him come to pit lane. We know he can make it on fuel now, but I don't think he's going to have the tires to even be anywhere near competitive.
Yep, as we are going to go to the pit road right now, and Jovan Cherry is going to bring it down. Same for Scott Warren. Same for Greg McConaughey. Everybody that's on the lead lap is in pit road right now, as Partman is the last one to pull it into his pit stall. And expect Jovan Cherry to win the race off pit road, and he will. As everybody's still putting their left sides on right now. That's how far Jovan Cherry was ahead when the caution came out.
Yeah, Jovan Cherry making one heck of a pit stop there.
And he did take 4 in fuel, so question is, how many cans of fuel did he take? That's the big question.
Well, all he needed to do was take a little less than half of a fuel load to make it to the end, because we're going to go green with, 17 laps left in this thing? 17 more times around Kansas Motor Speedway, and we're going to call it good.
I'm going to say lap 16, possibly, because people are still making their pit stops. We've just seen Joe Gauthier and Nick Kessler come down to pit road now. Two of the most attractive paint schemes on the track right now. The Joe's racing number 67 and Joe Gauthier right there, and Logan Jones in pit road as well after taking his lucky dog.
Yep, Jeff Price, Ryan Decker, and Braden Black are going to take the wave around to get back on the lead lap. But they're not getting a pit stop out of this. They're going to be on old tires at the back of the pack. And in 17 laps, you think Jovan Cherry on fresh tires can overhaul those guys on older ones? We'll have to see.
Well, they are going to be on the back foot regardless. When they get the wave around, they're going to be on old tires, and they're going to be praying for another caution. And whether they get it is another story, as Logan Jones is still in pit road, possibly getting some damage repaired. He probably scraped the wall somewhere. And,
well, he knows he's going to be on the tail end of the lead lap anyway as the lucky dog recipient. Might as well get all the damage you can repaired right now.
Absolutely. And there is your race leader, Jovan Cherry, just ahead of Scott Warren. Greg McConey in third place. Connor Trafari in P4. JD Woodward rounds out your top 5. Chris Parkman in P6. Logan Jones is just making his way out of pit road. Is in P7. Then you got Jeff Price, Ryan Decker, and Braden Black just taking their wave arounds right now, as is Ryan Worley.
Here we go, Sam. 17 lap shootout to the end of this thing.
16 lap, it will be.
Well, 17 laps now.
Yeah, 16 laps when we go back to green, though.
Okay, so you're right again.
Yeah, I'm always right. We've already established this.
Gotcha.
But still, I'm very impressed by how this race has gone. I know we only had 17 drivers take the green, though, and we had two retire in the first 5 laps. But, Byron, we've had an impressive race tonight, and with that, I'm going to hand it over to you to get us restarted for only the second time here tonight.
Yep, that European driver, Pate KR, out in front of the field as the caution's out. Lights are off on the pace car. As he leads them around, we're going to be looking for the pace car. It takes that hard left turn into pit lane. Jovan Cherry has control of the field, waiting on Barney to wave that green flag. Green flag goes in the air. Jovan Cherry holds him down for a split second. On the loud pedal, Jovan says, I'm out of here, guys. Catch me if you can. But, wow, look at the start that everyone else got behind them. Fresh tires, and they're going to spread out 3 wide. It's going to get dicey here in the next couple of laps.
And it's already getting dicey. Look at Greg McConey, monster restart from third place, and now will challenge to the outside of Jovan Cherry in towards turns 3 and 4. Warren starting to fall back slightly. Here comes JD Woodward as well, making it 3 wide for second place right now, and that is going to be music to the ears of Jovan Cherry to see those guys battling behind him as JD Woodward almost getting to the side of McConey, and McConey going to lose the back end. Big momentum loss there for the 12, and it's going to be side by side for second place now between
still
Woodward
trying to hang on to it.
Warren, and McConey almost loses it and saves it somehow, and he got squeezed out big time by Woodward and Warren right there, and he's going to be right at the back of the field. And now Scott Warren going to chase down Jovan Cherry for that race lead.
Yep, now Scott Warren has got a windshield full of the race leader. Is he going to be able to do anything with him? As JD Woodward and Chris Parkman up to 4th place. Chris Parkman putting the pressure on Woodward. Look for anyone to make a mistake. You're going to see guys behind him capitalize, just like you've seen everyone behind Marconi capitalize as he got real squirrely, pushing it just a tad too hard.
Jovan Cherry using that inside line. Warren going for the outside line, trying to make his way forward and still opting for that outside line as Jovan Cherry decided to go through the on the apron through the tri-oval. Look at JD Woodward trying to go for the very high line coming out of turn 2, give him the best slingshot possible to try and move his way forward. Scott Warren has a nose out in front. Can he make that move stick as Jovan Cherry under pressure pretty much for the first time here tonight as we're coming through turns 3 and 4. We're coming to 12 laps to go here, Byron.
Yep, Jovan Cherry just holding that bottom line real strong. You seen Scott Warren get up next to him, and Scott Warren mounts another outside charge right now. JD Woodward to the extreme outside, 3-way dance for the top spot.
Yeah, they're very, very close to the wall as they come out of turn 2 there. Scott Warren really, really wants that lead away from Javon Cherry, and Warren has not won since Daytona, so this is going to be a very, very big win for him if he can get it, because it's been a long time coming for the driver of the 76, JD Woodward, looking for another race win on his account this season, and right behind him, Chris Parman looking for his first race win since making his debut a few rounds ago.
Yeah, now they're really starting to use those tires as best they can. You can see Jovan Cherry. He is back and forth blocking everything he can do. He's got, the best thing he can do is take the line away that Scott Warren wants to run. But by doing that, he doesn't get to run the line that he wants to run, and he loses that pace. And Scott Warren seems to, at times, have the faster car. But don't look now. JD Woodward's mounting one heck of a charge.
Yeah, and there's 10 laps to go here at Kansas as they come out of turn 2. 4-car breakaway. Connor Trafari not able to stay with these guys. Greg McConey still trying to get his momentum back as he's back in P6 right now. Logan Jones is the last driver on the lead lap in P7. Actually, he's not the last driver on the lead lap. That would be Ryan Decker, who's last driver in the top 10 right now. As we're seeing a battle for second place here. Scott Warren side by side with JD Woodward, who's opted for the outside line. Warren going to go for the inside as they're trying to close the gap on Javon Cherry, but Cherry starting to leg it out once again, and JD Woodward going to cross over Warren in towards turn 3. A monumental battle between the 47 and the 76 here as they come out of turn 4. Woodward going to do the slide job, almost contact between the two. Woodward almost loose it, but hangs on. Great racing for second place.
Oh my God, you don't get any tougher racing than that. One crossover, repaid with another crossover that almost didn't have the clear. That had the potential to be very nasty as Scott Warren is falling. Oh, Scott Warren into the wall as he's falling back behind Chris Parkman.
More bad luck for the 76ers to come through turns 3 and 4. He's going to fall back to P4 behind Chris Parman. JD Woodward is up to P2, but look at the time they have lost to Javon Cherry. Cherry is going to be absolutely grinning from ear to ear, seeing all that happen behind him, because that gap is to more. Well, it's just getting about a second now. Javon Cherry just has to hold a pretty wheel, and he has the victory here tonight.
Yeah, Scott Warren not being too happy as we see guys getting into the wall, driving it real hard. Greg Marconi slapping the wall. Scott Warren slapped the wall. The only one that didn't was Connor Trafari, but Scott Warren has got a rear view mirror just full of that 48 car, Connor Trafari.
Yeah, Trafari coming off the back of that big win he had on Friday night in the Circle B Diecast Series, as he's now looking to the outside of Scott Warren in the battle for second, heating up as Chris Parman now has found some speed in that number 15 machine. He's right on the back of JD Woodward coming out of turn 2 right now. We are 6 laps to go, 5 to go at the line.
Yeah, Jovan Cherry seems to have the field covered. As long as he doesn't step all over himself, he should be good to go. The battle's going to be for the other podium positions between JD Woodward, Chris Parkman, Scott Warren, and Connor Trafari.
Well, it won't be Scott Warren anymore. He's got pressure from Greg McConey. McConey's managed to gather himself back up, and that damage on Scott Warren's car going to be really, really biting at him right now as we come out of turn 2. We have 5 laps to go. Battle for fifth place right there between these two. The battle for second place kind of petering out as here comes Connor Trafari, going to put a big dive on Chris Parman there out of turn 4, and is going to try and mount a challenge for that third spot.
Not able to hold the momentum and hold the track with the grip to get down below him, as he falls right back in behind him on that high side as they hustle it off into 1 and 2. Going to see if he can mount another charge. Got to be wondering how long these tires are going to hold grip, working as hard as they are, as we come to 4 to go right now.
Well, 3 to go at the line. There's now a big dive from Trafari again to the inside of Chris Parman. Parman trying to keep it off the wall and is almost in the process about to lose third place, but Parman still able to hold on. Give that position to Trafari at the line though, as he's going to dive it in again in towards turns 1 and 2, and Trafari will take away third place right there from Parman. Parman needs to act fast if he wants to get that position back.
Yeah, Trafari driving that car right on the edge. You've seen it get a little bit of a wiggle in it and lose a little bit of momentum, as here comes Parkman trying to mount a charge back, see if he can do anything with it, but I don't think so, as Trafari is starting to leg out a little bit of distance on Parkman for that Parkman back and forth. Trafari up to third.
Popsicle sticks are in the air. We are 2 laps to go here at Kansas, and Javan Cherry has absolutely gone into the distance again for the second time here tonight, and he will more than likely get the victory here, barring the wheels absolutely fall off that number 20 machine. JD Woodward has got away from Connor Trafari, who's now started to pull away from Chris Parman. Scott Warren has his mirrors full of the number 12 of Greg McConey as they come out of turn 4. White flag in the air here at Kansas as Javan Cherry will make his way in towards turn 1 for the final time here tonight.
Yeah, Jovan Cherry bringing it down through the back straight. Just the number 20 pilot has just put on a clinic here at Kansas. We'll have to ask him, what did he do to that car? How did he learn this track? Boy, he just showed everyone how it was done as he brings it into turn 3 and turn 4 for the last time tonight. Sees the start-finish line. Barney's got the checkered flag. Your race winner tonight, Jovan Cherry.
Yeah, and coming home second place will be JD Woodward in the number 47. Connor Trafari, great battling at the end there. He will claim the last spot on the podium. Chris Parman loses out again for the third race in a row on a podium spot. Scott Warren going to finally get across the line for P5. What happened to Greg McConey, though, because he lost P6 at the end there. Logan Jones taking that away from him.
Yeah, I think Marconi just used up his tires in that battle trying to get around Scott Warren. Didn't happen. And Greg Marconi, all he was doing was just saving, just watching it out his windshield. All it took was one bobble, and he made his move, and there he is, one spot higher.
Yep. As there is your race winner, Javan Cherry. A fantastic run for the driver of the 20. And he will be absolutely elated to have got that win on the season. And more bonus points as he looks towards the playoffs in about 15 rounds time. And he has definitely really put the rest of the series on notice, because that was just absolute dominance there by the Toyota driver.
Yeah, it was. He just had the pretty wheel tonight. He was able to save those tires. Did it on 2 stops. Had the fuel to knock him down. Kept his tire management. We talked about it, in last night's race in Vegas. Tire management. And Jovan Cherry put on a clinic of how to manage a set of tires on a racetrack.
That is true, as we're going to go straight to the interviews for tonight's race. And coming home in the first spot, and we're going to try and find him right here, as we're going to try and bring him down, as we're going to send Byron down to your race winner right now. Byron Rodney is with your race winner.
Jovan Cherry, man. How in the heck? You put on one hell of a clinic here in Kansas. You made it on a 2-stop strategy. We were thinking you might have shot yourself in the foot holding it out as long as you did. Boy, it paid off big in dividends. Tell me about your race.
Yeah, it was a good race. I was surprised it went as green as long as it did, but we were able to just run the car hard on the bottom, do everything that we needed to do to make sure we could bring this home in first. And it's just a really fun race here at Kansas.
I was noticing tire fall off almost 3 seconds a lap from the beginning of a fuel run to the end of a fuel run. Were you guys having issues? Was it burning the right rear off? Because that's what it kind of looked like from the booth.
Yeah, it was definitely getting a little loose, sometimes it gets a little tight in the center. But it was mainly just controlling the tire wear the best you could. Everybody was fighting the same condition out there, just trying to hang on it to the best you could. Thank God it was wearing it off, because fuel was starting to look a little weird out there too. So, tire wear was just a really big thing, but it was just how everybody managed it was really the key to how we were able to pull away.
Yeah, I noticed that a lot of guys were staying on the high line. A lot of guys were rolling that low line. You were taking that wide arc into the corners. Were you able to find the pace that nobody else could by the line you were running?
Yeah, it was. I was just trying to do. I think clean air was really the big thing. Once we got out front there, being aggressive off the start, we were kind of able to pull around, and then we were able to kind of dictate wherever we wanted to go.
All right, before we let you go and finish your celebration off in Victory Lane,
if we ever needed to run high, we could have. But yeah, once, like I said, the clean air was just the big thing, being able to keep it there.
Yeah, before we let you...
iRacing, iFlag, Rowdy Energy, Midwest Motor Customs. Oh, sorry.
All right, carry on. You can find. You're fine.
Midwest Motor Custom, Circle B Diecast, Butt Kicker, all the guys that make this league possible, you guys up in the booth, and all the ads for putting this together. I think
You can carry on now, Byron. You're fine.
Ah, well, I think we've lost him, have we?
No, we haven't. But anyway, that was your race winner, Javon Cherry, joining us in the booth from the Victory Lane. Now, joining myself in just a second, once I've got all my details figured out. God, I will get it figured out eventually.
Well, you've already said you're smarter than I am, so I know you can figure it out better than I can.
No, I just said I was right. I didn't say I was smarter.
Oh.
As we're going to bring, joining me right now from second place is JD Woodward. Now, JD, another podium for the night, but you had to really work for it here tonight. You seemed like you were focusing more on the long run pace than the short run pace.
Yeah, for sure. There, that we had those green flag pit stops, and then after having the green flag stop, I just got in more or less save mode and said, "Here, I'm gonna save to about 30 to 25 to go, and then give it all I've got." Luckily, we got the caution. I think we had a pretty good short run car. Probably second was a little too good for us, but I'll take it. We were probably the fourth or fifth best car tonight, but second's pretty good.
Yeah, you were in a pretty scary situation at the end there in that last run. 3-wide situation between yourself, the 12 McConey, and Scott Warren there. It just looked a bit looked scary from our point of view. How was it feeling for you being in that 3-wide situation near the end there? It could have gone wrong very quickly.
Yeah, I just had to trust the two other guys on my outside. I had the spotter going 2-2-2 the whole time there in one, and then it looked like the middle guy, he backed out, and me and the 76 came out side by side, and then I was finally able to get by the 76, trying to pull a little slide job.
That it did, and it definitely worked out for yourself. And talk about your car here tonight. You said you were saving the tires here, but like any other cookie cutter we go to in this series, it's really tough on the rear tires here. How were you able to manage them just as well as you did tonight?
I'd say just run the high lane. Throttle control is a huge thing. Going from 70% throttle to 100% throttle would make the car just whip sideways off corner exit, and that would really burn up the tire. So just being disciplined and not doing that was a big thing to saving the rear tires.
All right, and then next week, you've already booked yourself in towards the playoffs. There's just bonus points from this point onwards. But next week, we head to the Lady at Black at Darlington. What are your thoughts heading into that one? Yeah,
Darlington's a track that's really fun if you can master it, but then it can also be really frustrating. Tires are going to play a huge role in there. I haven't looked to see how many laps it is, but it'll be a fun race there. Hopefully we at least get one caution. The whole race doesn't go green, and we get one car just running around for 100-something laps. But it'll be a fun race. Definitely will have to save your tires, and can't wait for Darlington. Throwback week, in fact.
Absolutely. It should be fun to see who can get their Darlington stripe next week for sure. But before I let you go and celebrate your second place here, JD, anybody you'd like to give a shout out to?
Yeah, I'd like to thank my pit crew, Ian, Tucker, Tate, Miles, Alex, Mason, all of y'all who helped me out. I'd like to thank the sponsors who sponsor this wonderful league: Rowdy Energy, Circle B Diecast, iRacing iFlag, Butt Kicker, and Midwest Motor Customs. We couldn't do it without y'all sponsoring us. And I'd like to thank y'all once again for broadcasting the race.
All right. Well, JD Woodward, congratulations on your second place. Definitely had to work for it, and it definitely paid off for yourself. We will see you next. We will see you next week at Darlington.
Sounds good.
So that was JD Woodward joining us from second place. Now joining Byron from third place, another driver that's really had to work for it tonight. If I can find him, there he is. Another driver that's really had to work for his position here tonight is Connor Trafarian. Byron, I believe you have him with you now.
Connor Trafari, we're starting to make a habit of talking to you after a race, man. Congratulations on the podium. One heck of a battle for a lot of laps with Greg Marconi. You guys were back and forth, and then you had that late caution. Talk to me. How'd you charge that up to third place?
It was really weird. I think I definitely had a better long run car than most of the other drivers, so I just kind of saved my tires a tiny bit, and then when they were all starting to fight at the very end, I just kind of went on the bottom, passed them all, and was going for JD, but I think he just had the better line, and I had the dirty air.
Well, tire management was a big thing that we've heard from other drivers. Exactly, how much driving off of your right foot did you have to do with this track to keep that thing? Because I noticed a couple of times towards the end of a fuel run, you were getting awful squirrely coming off of turn 4.
Oh yeah, this track was all about steering it with the gas pedal. If you really didn't need to brake a whole lot, and if you're just trying to save your right front and your right rear, you needed to use that gas pedal a lot. So that was really the main way of having to save, and it really paid dividends if you did it correctly.
Well, third place position tonight. Next week, throwback week, Darlington. What's your thoughts going ahead to next week?
Definitely going to be interesting. I think it's going to be my first time racing at Darlington, so I'll see what I can do, but it'll definitely be an interesting race.
All righty, yeah. Anyone you want to shout out to before we let you go celebrate third place, man?
I'd like to thank my teammate Nick Kessler for being in the voice chat with me. Rowdy Energy, Circle B Diecast, iRacing iFlag, Butt Kicker, and Midwest Mark Customs for sponsoring the league. I'd like to thank my main sponsor, Lot 9. I'd like to thank ESPN for broadcasting this league and the admins for putting it on.
Yeah, well, we're happy to do it, man. You guys put on a heck of a show for us, especially here at Kansas. It went a lot, longer on green than I thought it was going to go. You guys did it with a couple of cautions and, or what? One caution, wasn't it, Sam?
One caution.
One caution. 120 laps of Kansas, one caution tells you about the skill of these drivers. Congratulations on third place, Connor.
Thank you.
That's your third place driver, pilot of the 48, Connor Trafari.
Yeah, and that is your interviews out of the way and done here at Kansas. And definitely another highlight reel worthy race here tonight. A lot of battling out on track, and it did settle down for a while. There weren't really any battles for the mid part of the race, but really kicked off at the end there. But Javon Cherry was untouchable here tonight as we head in towards Darlington next week. And bringing us to the end of the show here tonight, we will have the results for you in this race. And bringing home that victory was Javon Cherry. Coming home in second place was JD Woodward. Third was Connor Trafari. Coming home in P4 and missing out on another podium here tonight was Chris Parkman. We'll speak to him eventually at some point this season, I'm pretty sure. Running out in top 5 at the end there was Scott Warren after picking up that damage after hitting the wall after the green flag dropped once again. Logan Jones picking up P6 and Greg McConey in P7. 8th going to Jeff Price, Ryan Decker in P9, and Braden Black rounds out your top 10 here, Byron.
Yeah, Joe Gauthier, he finished the first car laps off of the lead, 2 laps down, and he got P11. Nick Kessler bringing it home in 12th. Ryan Worley, rough night for Ryan Worley, but he did struggle along. He did finish the race, brings it home in the 13th position. Jason Papp, like I said, man, my hat's off to the guy. He could have parked that on the hauler back when Cruz Hernandez Jr. did and Shane Posey did, but he didn't. He kept it out there, got all he could because, like we know, points count towards championships. Jason Papp bringing it home 14th. Shane Newens 15th. Cruz Hernandez Jr. out early along with Shane Posey.
Yeah, and that is your results for tonight's race. And looking ahead on the schedule, we have another double dip for you tomorrow night as we have the UK Sim Racing MX5 Pro Series going to Virginia International Raceway for the next round of their season. And then later that night we have the Western States Racing League as they continue their search for a new champion. On Wednesday we have Sim Racers Edge, and we have Endurance for Amateurs, a new name for that series. They are off to Suzuka. Thursday we are off, and then Friday we have the Circle B Diecast Super Speedway Series. Well, that's going to do it for us here on ESPN Fantastic racing all around, and all that's left for me to say from myself, Sam Cooper, and from Byron Rodney, keep it clean, keep it green, and we will catch you tomorrow night for more racing action. Have a good night.